Hello and welcome to my channel. This is Lisa with Lisa's Faith and Budget Planning channel. I do have to apologize today. I'm excited to be here, but the film I made, writing all this down and discussing what the plan is for the month, well, the footage is gone. And so I'm refilming it again. I've already written everything down. So I'm just going to kind of walk through what I did before and refilm this. Hopefully it doesn't get lost this time, so we'll see what happens. But I am excited to be here. I'm excited to share our sinking funds and savings tracker, which is what we're going to talk about today, what the plan is. And mine's pretty simple because most of my transactions are once a year. And so there are some months I have some activities, most months I don't. And you just see me kind of pull it all together. And so this is me setting up my sinking funds and savings tracker. So at the end of the month, when everything has been deposited or transactions have been taken out, you see the end results, and they're very simple to do. So these are my personal budget sheets, Lisa's Faith Budget Plan in Etsy, and it's very inexpensive, cheap. In fact, my savings tracker and sinking funds are my most popular budget sheets. You can buy them as single pages alone, so that you can make up your own budget binder and just use what you want to use. I have 8.5 by 10. Or 8.5 by 11, like these sheets of paper are, or I have where you can print it out, classic happy planner size without reducing the size on your printer. You just print 8.5 by 11 like normal, and then I have these little marks in the corners, and that's the size of a classic happy planner. And then on a regular piece of paper, you can also do the same with the A5. So I really like that. It works really well for me. And I prefer the 8.5 by 11. I need a lot of room to write, and I prefer a regular size notebook sheet or a regular size piece of paper. So what I'm going to do is we're going to zoom in and check out these budget sheets and see what my plans are for the month. So I will be right back. We are all zoomed in and ready to go. So if you are new to my channel, welcome. I'm excited to have you here. If you are new, please go ahead and subscribe to my channel and hit that like button so you can see more of my budget videos. I would love for you to join the community and the conversation on how, as a community, we can help each other with our budgets and learn from one another. So I use sinking funds. I found out about them through the Dave Ramsey program when I did Financial Peace University, and then I started researching on YouTube other videos just like mine that talk about budgeting, and it's an amazing community to be a part of. So I absolutely love it. If you are one of my subscribers, thank you so much for supporting my channel, and welcome back. I love that you keep coming back and watching my videos, so thank you for that. But sinking funds, it's a simple concept, and it's easy to do, and anybody can do it, which is what I love about sinking funds. You don't really have to think too hard. If you have a calculator and a pen and paper, you can do it. That's all you really need. You can use cash envelopes, or you can use a bank account, however you want to do it. It's very simple to do. So what you're seeing here is my totals, or my categories for what I put into sinking funds. What am I wanting to save for? And these are long-term but small amounts that go into one specific savings account. And that's what I love about this. You can do cash envelopes and put it in a binder and a safe in your home. You can do one simple savings account and just use that and then track it here on pen and paper. Irregardless, it both works. So you see here my Amazon Prime, which is my first one. I pay the annual, comes out every September, but I make sure it's all fully funded by the end of August, so that the 1st of September, it is ready to go. I'm off to the side here kind of looking for some paper. And I want to show you how I figure out my beginning balance from moving into a new month. So what I do is every month I have budget sheets that I do. And whatever the ending of the last month, and this is my June, and I know that because of the design I picked for the month of June, and I do new designs every month. The only time I actually put what month it is on the design is the calendars, the dated calendars, and they're only up for the month that they're in, so I don't keep those very long in there. But the sinking funds for June were these yellow or the budget sheets for June were the yellow and green colors right here with the yellow flowers, and they were just beautiful, and I loved it. But then July came, and automatically you think 4th of July, and I did July balloons. So that's what we did here. When I ended my August, though, as you can see here, this amount, the ending amount, is the exact same as the beginning amount for this month. So I know what I'm starting July 1st with. And then what I do is I take my goal. So Amazon Prime, $119 a year, you divide that by 12, it's about $10 a month. If you did $120 a year, it's $10 a month exactly. So I just go ahead and round it up to $10 and leave it at that, and it's not that big a deal. So I'm gonna put that off to the side, bring this back forward. So because this is July, I already have $100. Net, I'm going to add $10, and when I add to my sinking funds, I do that at the very end of the month. You'll see in my, let's see, paycheck to paycheck budget and my monthly budget. I'm looking for my monthly budget here. There it is. We'll look at the calendar one. On the monthly budget, you're going to see a total amount of $380.66 for my sinking funds. And this is the paycheck I have, the last paycheck of the month from my husband that is able to cover all of that. And so it's also the most, disposable income available. Most of our bills and stuff obviously come out the first through the second paycheck of the month, and then a little bit at the end. So that is what sinking funds are for me. They're annual expenses or quarterly expenses or something that doesn't happen every month that I need to track and make sure I have available when the month comes. So I have my Amazon Prime. I'm planning to add $10. Disney Plus, I'm adding $5.83 as well as an Apple subscription. So when I did these, especially the Disney Plus, it was either $6.99 a month, which is obviously more than this, or I can do $69.99 for the year and just renew it every year. So I chose to do it as an annual expense because it was cheaper. It was like $13 cheaper. Now, $13 isn't that big of a deal, but if you're on a debt payoff journey and you are trying to save every penny you can, but you still need, that morale boost of, some television or channels to watch or something like that, this is a great way of looking at it and creating a sinking fund for it. And you're only putting $5.83 a month, not $6.99. So that works out pretty good. This was also another subscription. They're both $69.99 and they come out about the same time. So I run those together. Termite, Orkin termite and spray. So there's a termite contract for $2.99 and then the spray is $88 a month. Or not a month, $88 a spray quarterly. So that averages out to be $55 a month. So I just put that away in the savings account. Heating and AC contract, I put $20 a month away from there. And then when the contract comes due, I just pay it. City of Chesapeake, that's our city property tax for our vehicles, and stormwater that we pay twice a year. So that is what I have there for $57. Cell phone tech, this is not an annual expense. Most of these are annual, some of them are savings. So these are long-term savings, but they're small amount savings. So I just always, every month, put $100 away for tech. Just because, phones break or issues come up and it's just better to replace it than try to fix something. And so, or if we need to pay for a repair or something getting fixed, there's a little money put aside for technology. We've bought laptops already this past year when my husband began working from home and my son began doing school from home and all the things. So we have that. Christmas fund, $350 is what we began with, $50 a month. So that's an annual expense, but you need it fully funded before Christmas. So throughout the year, like right now I have $350. So if something came up and I wanted to buy something, as long as I kind of kept it in this range, I could buy Christmas gifts and things like that. Vacation, these are small things. I should say more like staycation or fun activities or something like that, because that's what I've really been using it for. I took a large sum of money and put vacation fund in a different savings account, and I'll show that in a little bit in my savings tracker. But sometimes I use it to pay for hotels for 1 or 2 nights or something like that, or to offset the cost of hotels. So I have a P.O. box and it averages $17 a month. So that's what I have that there, and I pay it twice a year. So this builds up in here until I need to pay it. Business license, that's about $10 a month as well. I pay for the city and then the state that have the name and then all that good stuff. So that's part of that. My senior year for my son, I've already funded it for $1,000, and my husband and I decided to stop at $1,000, and then and so I'm no longer funding it, but it's still in the savings account when I need it to pay for senior photos, cap and gown, announcements, invitations, or whatever, party supplies, you know, you name it. That's what we're doing. Canva is, I use Canva Pro. I did a year subscription already, and it's about $119, I think. So I just made it $120, and that dollar will just kind of sit there. And then I can adjust from there later. Also in the savings account, I do get dividends, and so I do go ahead and add that to the sinking funds. In case I needed to put it in a different category, I could. But mostly this is just to keep the balance accurate. So this is the number that was in my checking account. And now that this 36 cents has been added, that is what it increased by. And then at the end of the month, when you total all this up, the $380.66 plus the 36 cents, I will get $381.02. And that's the total deposits for the month of July for sinking funds. So when you total those two together at the end of the month, I should have $2,075.74 plus the $381.02. I should have $2,456.76. That is if I do not take anything out of the sinking funds. Now, if something comes up, I can deduct from that, and then there's the ending balance. So a lot of people run sinking funds completely different. If you have smaller kids, I notice this with women on YouTube that have small kids. They will have like a clothing fund. They will have like an education fund if they're homeschooling, or they'll have a fund for like activities, like if they're doing soccer or softball, or, you know, some kind of activity, dance and things like that, that they have to save up for tournaments, or they have to save up for other things. They do run that totally different. So this is extremely flexible to use. Sometimes people use a checking account, not a savings account. And they put it's almost like a spending account where you spend cash for all those activities or those things that you need. And it just, all the money's sitting there, and you go ahead and do a savings tracker log. And that I do log sheets, and I don't do them for sinking funds, but I do have a transaction log in my shop. I retitle mine and go miscellaneous or gasoline or something, and I run the log this way. And this is not much different than tracking it on, let's say, a calendar, where you have your spending on your calendar as well. So there's so many ways of budgeting and so many things that you can do that you can have a lot of fun with it and make it decorative and really come back to it and focus on it and enjoy it. So that's my sinking funds and what I plan to put away for savings, and what I plan, and I have no plans actually to spend any of this. If I do take anything out, and maybe this vacation fund here, other than that, nothing else would come out. And until September. Our spray for Orkin may come out, but it probably won't come out until August sometime. So we'll have to wait and see on that, because that is quarterly. I don't know if it's August or September. And then that's about it. Nothing else is really going to be coming out this month. So now to my savings tracker. So again, this is another savings account. I have a joint savings account with my husband that we've had for over 20 years. We decided to use that as the emergency fund because it's directly linked to the checking account that we spend everything and all the bills are paid from. And these are my beginning balances with that. Last month, I also had tracked. This is what last month looked like. Now, I did have to use my emergency fund for like a few hours. My husband did not get a paycheck that morning, and I was like, oh no, what's going on? And then Later in the day, they did pay him. I just didn't know it was coming. So there was that. And so I was moving money around that I didn't need to because I didn't know it was coming. And then I just wanted to make sure my bills were covered. And that's all that was. So check out my previous video on sinking funds and savings tracker when I close it out at the end of June. I'll link that in the eye in the sky, and you can check that video out. But yeah, this is what happened last month. But these are the ending balances after I did all the crazy math. And as you can see here, that's the emergency starter fund. These all match up and the numbers are the same. So I'd take the ending balance of the savings tracker and beginning balance for the new month. So that was June and July. And yes, the header is different. The original one was the yellow flowers, but I had erased and rewrote so many times it was really sloppy. So I just grabbed another sheet that I had from a previous month, and this happened to be April butterflies, and I loved it. So I said, I'll just use it again because, hey, I'm not going to waste paper. So there you go. That's why it's different. And you can use different budget sheets all the time or different designs. It's kind of fun, you know, if you want something different every time you look. Savings tracker. Dave Ramsey is how I started Financial Peace University in 2019, July 2019. And I learned about the emergency starter fund, which was the $1,000. And then I paid off, actually, when I started Dave Ramsey, I had money in savings. I had more than enough money in savings. I had like $6,000, I think, at the time. And almost $7,000. I decided after doing the class, I'm like, okay, Eric, we need to make a decision. Who's my husband? I said, we have 1 year left on the car. It's less than $6,000. We have enough money in savings and to keep this $1,000 emergency fund based on this class. Why don't we go for it? And we did. And it worked out beautifully because when we paid off the car, we had $570 freed up for every month from that day forward. And we still have. We have not had a car payment since mid-June or July of 2019. And so that freed up for $570, which created our first snowball for our debt payoff. And we ended up paying off eventually $44,000 in 15 months. So that was pretty amazing. I paid off my school loans. I paid off the car. I did the work, but it was a team effort with me and my husband. I used my husband's money to do it. I did all the work and we paid off all that debt and it was amazing. And we were able to build up savings. And so we have the original $1,000 starter emergency fund. And then my plan for 3 to 6 months savings started and we saved quite a bit. We're up to, in our opinion, 26%. And I'll show you back here our savings. I think I have it back here. So I use these little piggies to track it, and I got to add one little piggy. Each piggy is $365. And so this is what we've done since December of 2020. We started saving, and so we're up to $9,490. And I hope this, combined, obviously we have over $10,000. So hopefully by the end of this year, we will have, I'm hoping if we have 10,000, I'd like to make it up to 12 to 13,000. It depends on how much overtime my husband gets and any emergencies, and then how much we can put into savings. So we'll see how it turns out. My husband's travel expense. So he travels for business. We save $800 and leave it in the savings account until he travels. Well, he's been traveling, so he's been using it. He has $300 left in the savings account. $500 he's already transferred. VA education savings, that is my husband's. He is a retired Navy and he gets VA education benefits, and he's using his post 9/11 GI Bill, and that also compensates him in this grant money and for VA education, you know, to buy things and cover household stuff as well as going to school. So and that was his last deposit, so it's in the savings account waiting for him to use what he wants to use. A lot of times if it's in savings, I'll have him use the credit card and then pay it from savings because that's where it's sitting. at the end of the month. So that's where we might do that this month. He's going to make a pretty big purchase. And we've done that in the past, but this is the money that's ultimately going to be used to cover that cost. We threw all our large vacation money here in the savings tracker. I have a vacation fund, but when the stimulus came out and we got, I don't remember how much it was. I think it was $5,400 for a family of 4. Everyone got stimulus. Earlier this year, I decided, let's put $3,500 into savings and we'll just go on vacation with it. So that's what we did, or what we're going to do. And in August, we're going to go on vacation. We're really excited about that. And then dividends. I do track the dividends in this savings account. Now, this savings account is separate from the other one. This is, well, I guess it's a joint account for me and my husband with our checking. This savings account over here is my personal account. The checking is used for my business, but the saving wasn't really, nothing was going in there. So I decided to use that as a sinking fund. So it's an account we already had. We didn't go out of our way to get a savings account, but you could if you wanted to. So it just depends on what your family dynamic is and what works for you guys, whether you use savings or checking or how many accounts that you want to use, you could do that. So that is the savings tracker. Now I also do a credit card log. And I like showing this because people want to use their credit card and have a credit score so that it can work easier with the banks and have get great interest rates and things like that. But they get in trouble every time they get with a credit card. And we had a $24,000 balance, which is the max of our credit card, for years. And we were close to that $24,000 all the time. And we could never pay it off. And 15 years of paying interest and paying monthly, just minimum monthly payments. We just could not pay it off because anytime we had an emergency, that's what we went to. If we had $1,000 or a couple $1,000s on there, that's what we used to pay for the emergency. So now that we did the Dave Ramsey program and kind of switched gears and was able to save, before we actually did Dave Ramsey, we were able to save because of a new job and new circumstances. We retrained our thoughts on how and what a credit card is and use. Now, Dave Ramsey doesn't want any credit card, period. And I don't blame him. I hate playing the game because the bank gets to decide how much debt you have to be in, how much debt you need to pay off, and what's old debt, what's new debt, and all the things in between. I'm like, I don't think the bank should have that kind of control over us. I mean, they're just basic loan sharks as far as I'm concerned. Which is why credit was created for people in the first place, because loan sharks were taking advantage of people back in, I think it was the 20s or 30s or something like that. But if you do educate yourself on what a credit card is, how it works, how you can get in trouble, and the fact that you know that it's like painless to use, make it painful. Make it painful and track it so that you know when you are using your credit card, that is for cash you have on hand. And people are like, well, if you already have the cash, why use the credit card? Well, it's the credit score thing. You want low interest rates for the ticket items that you're going to buy, like a house. And if we can get lower rates, that saves money in the long run too. So I'm not completely against credit cards, but I'm not completely for them either. So the way I make it painful for myself is I came up with a transaction log as the date, the amount, the description, and total owe and available credit. So I'll show you last month. It'll make more sense from last month. This is what last month looked like. So every time I purchase something or I have a transaction go through, and I have a list of transactions, I'll show you on my calendar here. Expenses: Etsy, Amazon Music, Paramount Plus, Sling, HP Instant Ink, HBO Max, iTunes, Discover Plus, QuickBooks, Audible, and then I'm not even on screen, I'm sorry guys. And then this one down here, which is my husband's. These come into our credit card. These were expenses I actually used to have on the calendar that were auto-drafted on our debit card. I put it on our credit card to have activity on the credit card so that that activity can be, keep our credit score going up. And it has. It kept our credit score going up, and stabilized and good, so that's why I have that there. And then sometimes I add a few things that I know are going to come out of the buffer of our checking account or overtime, and or emergency fund, like this one, Bannister Nissan starter. I had to get a new starter for my vehicle. That starter cost $1,273.53. So I used a credit card to put it on here. At the end of the month, I paid all of it with a savings account, and it worked fine. I did buy our tickets to GalaxyCon in Raleigh and North Carolina, and we're excited about that, but I knew it was going to come out of the buffer of our checking account, so I just went ahead and budget for it. Every time you make an adjustment to what you plan to spend on your credit card, make sure you make an adjustment on the budget and the buffer to know that you can cover it. So it's got to make sure you cover it. So this is how I make it painful. This is how I make it work for me, and not abuse a credit card, and actually think things through. How do I pay it off every month? Because that was the problem. I'm like, how do I pay it off every month when I rack it up so high so quickly? So this is how I do that. So this is my sinking fund, this is my savings tracker, and that was my credit card log. I'm going to zoom us out, and I'll be right back. Okay, so that's what I have for us today, our sinking funds and savings tracker. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my videos, please subscribe to my channel. I would love to have you as part of the community and chat about budgeting and things like that, and love to help you guys if you have any questions about how to do these things. They're very simple and easy to use, but I love using them, and they just make life so much easier. So anyways, I hope you have an amazing and blessed day, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.